Welcome again, friends. This is episode 28 of the Dudley Simpson is Doctor Who project, which is not only the first new episode of 2021, but also the first episode made during an era when I hope I can sleep soundly again. You may remember that in episode 25, I performed a piece that was the origin of Simpson's theme for Tom Baker's Doctor. In this episode, hot off the presses, I present for you the second movement of the Doctor's theme. You may also remember that in the first movement, All's Well That Ends, the theme started out life as a simple four-note rising motive from the happy ending of Baker's second story, The Ark in Space. It seems clear in retrospect that Simpson was quite taken with this little idea, for it reappeared and reappeared in the next several stories he scored. During my first run of listening and transcribing, after doing All's Well, I transcribed its more obvious relatives, but at the time I didn't know I was going to want to do a more thorough collection. So it wasn't until my second run that I heard much more thematic material in seasons 12, 13, and 14. I had originally made a single 10-minute long piece, primarily drawing from seasons 15 through 17. But when I discovered this new material, I realized I had to break up the Doctor's theme into movements. This made for a better musical experience, and I was able to more clearly delineate the evolution from motive to theme. That means the new music had to be added to my collection, so much of what you'll hear in this movement was transcribed as recently as a week ago. As I hinted, motive-based music recurs 3 times in part 2 of the Sontaran experiment, the final iteration of which I incorporated into the first movement. The motive was also given a brief cameo in part 6 of Genesis of the Daleks. Near the end of the slightly truncated 1975 season, Dudley Simpson received a brief respite from scoring Doctor Who, one of the last he would have. The final story of the season, Revenge of the Cybermen, was scored by the lovable but eccentric music of Carrie Blyton, and the opener for season 13, Terror of the Zygons, featured the eerie woodwind and string music of Geoffrey Bergen. Bergen would return to score that season's finale, The Seeds of Doom. When Simpson returned to score the other 16 episodes of season 13, he brought the Doctor's motive with him, and as you'll hear, a proper theme begins to evolve and would come to exist alongside the motive. The conclusion of Planet of Evil sees the return of the All's Well music, reimagined with different harmony under an extended melody, but the steady pulsing rhythm and parallel shifting of the harmony harken back to the original. By far the most theme-filled score in season 13 was Pyramids of Mars, yet another candidate for Tom Baker's best, let alone the best of all time. Here, both the newly composed but still immature theme appears alongside motive music, and the 6 clips from the story form the core of this movement. Notable in the All's Well type music at the conclusion of the story is a change of key, the ramifications of which I will naturally discuss in full in my part 2 video. Terry Nation returned next to write one of his 2 non-Dalek stories, The Android Invasion. This yielded 2 clips, and the All's Well music at the conclusion of the story was my unquestionable choice for the movement's quietly transcendent ending. The score to Simpson's final work on season 13, The Brain of Morbius, barely contains any Doctor's motive at all, and the little bit that's heard is so fleeting, I elected not to include it. The opening story of season 14, The Mask of Mandragora, was the beginning of Simpson's final, uninterrupted run as series composer. Set in Renaissance Italy, Simpson orchestrated appropriately, and his oboe-driven music yields yet another All's Well version. In addition, there is a musical fantasy on the motive also heard in part 4 of the story. It is so lovely that I decided it alone should be the 3rd movement, so watch out for that soon. Meanwhile, all totaled, this second movement of the Doctor's theme contains 13 separate segments spanning 6 stories and documents in almost chronological order the development of Simpson's theme. If you will, character development. Thank you very much for watching episode 28, part 1 of the Dudley Simpson is Doctor Who project. As I'm sure you know by now, next time, a full analysis of all the Doctor's motive and theme music you heard. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. See you next time.